All right, everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of the Coach's Corner, and this week I've got head coach of the St. John Heralds. It's Coach Bob Dlwgosh. Coach Bob, thanks so much for joining me tonight.
Hey, Sammy, it's really good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we're already back to football season. As I've said before, I am not complaining. It's my favorite season of the year for an array of reasons. It cools down finally, and football's here. So getting ready to get into a big fall. We're fresh off of our first day of hitting and pads and all that stuff. So, I know the sky is the limit right now for this St. John Herald's team. But, for the people here on YSN who are getting to meet you for the first time, Coach, why don't you introduce yourself and give us an idea about how long you've been coaching?
Sammy. So this will be my 6th year as the head coach at St. John. It'll be my 11th year of coaching. And all that time's been with the program. I was an assistant for Coach Don Irochi and Coach Scott Nisley before I took over. And then also I'm a teacher at the school. I mostly teach theology and a little bit of social studies.
Yeah, and also an alumni of St. John. Got a cool thing as the youth program, getting back to your old stomping grounds in that in the field house. And there's Coach Bob Dlwgosh, except it didn't say coach at that time, right there on the board. Some really cool things. So Herald through and through is really who you are. But Coach, let's talk a little bit about your coaching staff, which has grown this year and really has kind of grown over the past couple of years as well.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, I got to thank the administration and Sister Maureen and Nick Irochi for allowing us to kind of expand our staff. And it's been in line with the growth of the program, more kids, JV games and stuff like that. So it's been really neat to see. I'll talk about probably each one of them. Ryan Bento, most everyone who knows anything about St. John football knows Ryan Bento. He's been with me since that time that I took over, and he was a volunteer coach year before that. He's the offensive coordinator. He's my right-hand man for all things. Couldn't do it without him. There's just no way. He's also a teacher in the building. This might be a shock to some people, but all the theology between the 7th and 11th grade gets done between the two of us. So he's just as much fun to work with in the classroom as he is the football field. So that's been just a great partnership. We got Doug Jones is back again this year. He kind of runs the offensive line. He joined probably 3 years ago. The kids love him. We love having him. Coach Bob Fry is back again from last year. He'll be my defensive coordinator. He'll know what I mean by this. He brings a wealth of experience to the program, and he's been invaluable. I mean, you could see just the difference in our defense last year from the year before, the stats, the performance. So he's obviously done a great job, so we're excited to have him back. And then, we've added 2 to the coaching staff, at least full-time, and that would be first Ryan McKendry. He's coming over from Lakeside. I want to say he's been coaching there for about 13 years, so he really knows his stuff. He's been working with our wide receivers and our defensive backs, but we can plug him in anywhere because he's coached every position over all these years, and he's a gym teacher. And I think he coaches like 4 sports a year because he does track and 2 basketball programs over there. So great coach, great guy. And then we also got another very experienced guy, knowledgeable guy, Coach Bill Lips is joining us most recently from Conneaut. He's been a head coach before, so he's another guy that I can just feed off of, learn from, be a mentor to me, kind of pull everything together. So it's exciting. We've got younger guys, older guys, guys that have coached in a variety of schools throughout the county, and guys that have coached college. And then you got guys, which I think is important too, guys like myself and Coach Bento who are alumni and bleed blue. And so together it makes just a really great staff. I think we got the best staff in the county.
Yeah, and it's interesting to watch the transition and the transformation of this staff because you are very much a part of I guess I'm going to call it a rebuild of football at St. John. Numbers, just like they do in a lot of private schools, kind of dwindled there for a while. There was a time where St. John even went down to 8-man. But you guys didn't let that stain stay on the program. You guys went right back to 11-man, and that was coming off of losing the program even for a couple years. Talk a little bit about that, the rebuild, and after 6 years, you've really got this program going in the right direction.
Well, yeah, Sammy, I think we have. I talk about, you've heard this story a lot. I talk about this a lot. I hope this is the last year I'm talking about it because, truthfully, I think the last piece now is the wins. And so that's kind of what we're shooting for this year is the varsity level wins. But you're right. I mean, when Coach Bento was a volunteer assistant and I was an assistant, we played an 8-man schedule. Well, we played 8 games. We lost all of them. We were not competitive in most of them. I'm still glad we did that. I think the 8-man football was better than no football. And there was a lot of kids that came out the following year because of that experience. And this is a complete side note, but I personally would like to see the state of Ohio have an 8-man division. I want St. John to be playing 11-man football, but I think
there you go.
Yeah, I think it's great football though. But a year after that, we went back. So when me and Bento and we took over, we went 2-6, but we went right back to 11-man football. The year after that, we reestablished the junior high program. A year or maybe 2 years after that, we established the Freeway League teams. And all that credit goes to those youth coaches and all the hard work they put in. There's too many names to drop, but they did a great job. So I really can't take the credit for that, but I'll pat myself back a little bit anyway. Under our watch, yeah. I mean, now we have full pad football from basically the 3rd grade on through. Last year we played JV games. I mean, that's never happened in the history of St. John's School. You'd have to reach back to when all the parishes had their own parochial elementary school a very long time ago when we had that level of a system that all fed to the St. John varsity program. So we're there now. I mean, the program's stable. We're not worried about will we finish the year? Will we play 8-man 11? None of that. We're like, how many JV games can we squeeze in? So it's a great place to be. And I owe that to all the coaches at every level, myself, the junior high, the youth coaches, and they've just done a great job, as well as the support of our administration.
Yeah, and you talk about the growth of not just the program, but the numbers itself. And, you as a head football coach at the varsity level, getting some kids that, by the time they're freshmen, in some cases have 4 or 5 years of football experience under their belt, how much easier, well, I won't say easier, but it's a lot easier to kind of add on to that when you don't have to cover as much in the basics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think any coach knows that. We're starting to see, that's part of the final piece too. So we built all that, but then you don't reap the benefits of it overnight, right? You have to. It does take a few years for those kids to have been like, oh, I've been playing football since 4th grade, 5th grade, whatever, and I've been playing in a system that models what the varsity guys are doing. We're just now starting to get to that, which I think will translate into some success.
Yeah, I think especially when you look at the teams in Canton, whether you're going from, at the end of the year, whether you're talking Division I all the way down to Division 7, most of those teams are going to have some sort of a youth program established and definitely JV, or not JV, but junior high football going. So those kids aren't, I'm not taking this away from anybody watching this right now. If you're a freshman, you've never played football, come on out. It's a beautiful sport to learn to play. But, when you're trying to get into the fast lane, it's a lot easier when you've got some guys who know how to put a helmet on.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And you're right. I mean, we've had some guys come out late in their careers and have very nice careers. I mean, Dave DeSalvatore comes to mind right away, But boy, there's just like any other sport and everything you do in life, you can't replace all that experience.
Absolutely. And not just transition in the program, obviously big growth within the school as well. Opening a new building, the numbers for the school itself are increasing. So all good things to kind of help the football program, but it's starting to get some more stabilization in your conference play as well as the NAC now, fielding enough teams to run a regular conference schedule every year. I know you guys have been chomping at the bit to get that 10-game season, 10-game regular season, and it looks like you guys are on your way to that this year.
Yeah, no, we got a nice schedule put together. We got 7 home games. You really can't beat that. I'm really excited about NAC football. I was just telling Mike Greco the other day that I think the conference a while ago maybe didn't have all the respect, even amongst the small school conferences. You look at what PV's done the last 6 years. You look at the direction Grand Valley's going. You look at Cardinal that we've added. All the schools. There's no disrespect to any of them. It's a tough little conference. We want to compete for the championship, but it's not going to be easy. And there's so much good coaching too, as well, in the conference. So it's exciting to be able to compete somewhere that has that much talent and that kind of high level of play. But we're ready for it.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. I think not just within the program. I think there are lots of people from outside of the program. You talk about the support that St. John has. It's a very alumni heavy support. These guys bleed blue for the rest of their life. The guys and girls are coming back to these games, and I said we were going to put this at one point in the interview, but I'm going to talk about it now because that's what we do. We freestyle. Yeah. Making a move. From the Spire over to Lakeside, which historically speaking, was kind of how St. John always did, whether they played at Gannary Field or at Wenner Field, the old Ashtabula and Harbor Fields. Now you guys are getting back to that, playing at Lakeside Field, right down the street from where you guys, a beautiful stadium. How exciting is that as a change?
Yeah, I think we're really excited about it. We had a great time at the Spire. We all know it's a world-class facility and all those things. But the opportunity, I'm not entirely sure how the opportunity came along, but it did. And I'm really thankful that my administration brought me in and on the kind of the decision-making process and all that. And we have a great relationship with everyone over there at Lakeside and the administration there. They were very welcoming to us, and we were able to put something together that I think will benefit both schools. And then just in terms of as a field, it just feels, it's got that hometown Friday Night Lights feel to it. It just does. I've always admired that stadium. I thought they did a great job when they put it up. Well, back when we were in high school or whatever, just about. And yeah, and I remember the last games I watched before the program went away, because I played at Granary, and we were just talking about the other day, but I played the last game there, I think, because I think Ashtabula played on a Friday and we played on a Saturday before they closed the doors there. And then for 3 years, I watched St. John play at Lakeside High School. So we have a tradition there, we have some roots in that. And we're excited. The kids like it. We practiced there the other day in the afternoon. They were gracious enough, opened it up for us to, practice a little bit on our home turf. And the kids were really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it. It really is. It's a beautiful stadium, a brand new turf. Even since it's opened, all the upgrades that have happened there. You talk about that huge, video scoreboard, and it's one of those that I've seen what it looks like for games like the Battle of the Bridge, and when that place packs. It really exactly how you described it. It's got a Friday Night Lights feel, and I can't wait. As I'm going to have the honor and the privilege to be calling these St. John games this year. So I am calling out to everybody. If you're open on a Friday or a couple Saturdays that we've got going on, come down, check it out. It's going to be a great overall feeling. But talking about the program this year, we've talked about the players, from the past. Obviously, some guys coming in last year making a big splash, have graduated already. But you've got some guys who have come in this year getting a taste of what it feels like to get that real football feel and have come in pumped up and ready to go. Let's talk about some of the players that we're going to be keeping our eyes on this year.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I guess we could start the quarterback position. We got a transfer over from Lakeside, Anthony Benedict. He's been working really hard. He's made a tremendous progress. He learns pretty quickly. He kind of he's good on his feet. He's quick, and he can throw on his feet. So we'll probably utilize that everywhere we can. Um, another guy coming over from Lakeside is Bobby Chenault. He'll probably start at linebacker and, if not start, rotate some time at fullback. Speaking of which, another guy that we're going to have to expect some big things from that's coming for 4-year leather winner is McCade Kanicki. All right. McCade, you're going to see him touching the ball. You're going to see him kind of being the field general on defense at middle linebacker, I think. So we're expecting a lot from him. Collectively, I've been telling a lot of people this. I think our line is going to be better. Their line needs to be better. That's going to be key this year. So losing Grayson, obviously, is a huge hit.
Yes.
No arguing that. But I think that, collectively, everybody else is back. Everybody else was some of these guys, like you talk about Milo, he's been starting games since he started a few as a freshman. You got Anthony Petricello's healthy. Talk about Dalton Nellis, Frankie Dubsky. Those are all seniors with a lot of experience that are going to be up front. And then not to mention a few other guys that are going to be juniors and sophomores that played last year. Think about Javon. Think about Carlo Fasano is going to help us out down there this year. So I think that's exciting. Thinking about offense just a little bit more. Chase Newsome, all right, he's a dog. He really is.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah. What can we say? And we saw what he was able to do last year as a sophomore. He's gotten bigger, faster, stronger. He looks really good so far in camp. And Gus Petros as well. Gus was a freshman and put up some decent numbers, So we'll look to target him quite a bit. You think, too, defensively, then only forget about Anthony Severino. So, that's a nice 1-2 punch out there.
Yeah. I mean.
You know what I mean? And again, these guys, Anthony's another senior who's got a lot of experience. Defensively, a lot of the same names come up. I already mentioned Carlo Fasano, I think, is going to be a stud at defensive end. He's going to make it a long day for quarterbacks. You got good defensive back core between Chase and Gus. Andy Miller's looking good. Don't be surprised to see Carter Beck, a freshman, playing quite a bit, both sides of the ball. Johnny Miller, there's another one. He's tough. And I think
he's like really a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he is. Yes. He's going to kick for us again, but I believe that when we've only had the 1 day of hitting, like you said, I think when we get through these 2 scrimmages, you're going to have to talk about him as a defensive playmaker as much as anybody else on the team. So those are just some of the names. Like you said, we got to count on we graduated 10 seniors, and a lot of them were role players and big play guys and big number guys. So there's shoes to be filled, but I think we got a group that's up to the task.
Yeah, you certainly got enough feet to fill those shoes this year. There's some guys that came in, but you talk about guys like Carlo, and you talk about a guy, the one that sticks out from seeing from last year to this year. You got a guy in McCade Kanicki who apparently just lived in the gym, and that seems to be what a big part of the program growth, I guess, in size of human has become. These kids have really taken that gym part in very, very seriously. And talk a little bit about that, as I believe you guys added a strength and conditioning coach to the school as a whole.
Yeah, we did. So our baseball coach, who obviously did a wonderful job with that team this year, we hired him in as a strength and conditioning coach. It's a pretty neat thing because he can put something together for you specific to your sport, specific to your athlete. He's in the weight room 3 days a week for like 3 hours. And, if you're holding practice then and you want to send your kids at that time, you can, or just any athlete, like if a guy misses a lift or wants to, we can just tell him the gym's open then, and you got an excellent strength and conditioning coach there. So the truth, though, is, Eldon worked with me on that original staff for about 2 years. He helped me with the defense. But as far as the program this year, he's mostly just been helping us since baseball ended. I think a lot of these guys got bigger because, we implemented and the kids followed through this year really well on an off-season program that Coach Bento and Coach Fry put together. And I would just sit back and watch the kids lift after school. Those guys would come in, and when they could, all the coaches would be there. So we were hitting the weights as a team. In years past, there were some guys that got pretty big. Again, you go all the way back to David Salvatore, or you could look at Will Anderson and Ryan Williams. But those guys, they were doing a lot of work on their own, which is great. This year, there's a really good buy-in, and we had great turnout. We did 3 days a week in our own weight room, and I think you can see some kids got big. Yeah.
Yeah, and talking a little bit, not going to harp on the past, but you graduated 10, a very strong, both physically and mentally, senior class from last year. Very much, into the game. Everything mattered. Trying to hold kids accountable. How has this year's senior class stepped into that role?
They've done a nice job. They have, and I was worried about that. Not to take anything away from this group of seniors. But you're right. Last year's group was they were a special group in their own way. And I thought, boy, we're going to have to find some people that can kind of climb into that leadership role. But this group of seniors has. I give them all the credit. We featured Milo in the Star Beacon, and one of the reasons we went that route is because of the leader he's been so far early in camp. But he's not the only one. So I would say on the whole, we got another special group of seniors.
Yeah, and I mean, if you've got strong seniors, it's just going to kind of, the freshmen are going to have to fall in line, and that's really when you look at the check marks on the box of what you need for a successful season. That's definitely one of them. So it's going to be a great year of football. But Coach, just not talking wins and losses. You're in your 6th year of coaching. You've gotten to see the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. What is going to be a successful year, not talking wins and losses, for you looking at the guys this year?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sam. Yeah, I think for us, the answer to that's the same as it's always been. We just want to make our school, our student body, and our alumni proud. We want to wear that hero blue and white with pride, play with pride, do things the right way, act with class on and off the field. I know that's cliche and all that, but really at the end of the day, that's what this is really all about. And beyond that, just want to formulate good people. I just want guys. We want guys to go play college ball and stuff like that, and it's always exciting when kids do. But at the end of the day, I just want them to be good husbands, good fathers, good people, good employees. If we can do that, and I know for me personally, football did a lot of that for me. I don't think that I would have been able to join the military and make it through if I had gone through 2-a-days and had the mentorship of the coaches that I had. And I just think that translated to, different things, discipline being one of them, of course, and things like that allowed me to be successful in the military, and then to be blessed enough to be coaching these young guys back in my alma mater today. So that's what I want for our young people. I want it to be a positive experience that makes them into just one small piece of the educational model that makes them into a good human being and a disciple of Christ.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's it can't be better said than that. You're creating good adults And that's what the whole point of extracurricular. These are student athletes. Student comes first for a reason. Well, it's going to be a fun year. I'm looking forward to 7 home games. I know that I'm looking forward to that selfishly as an announcer to see these guys come out and look at some really, really talented guys and see my friends on the sidelines both smile and sometimes not smile, but that's all right. It's all part of the game, Coach. I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for sitting down for this Coach's Corner, and we're going to be doing this again really, really soon.
Okay, that's awesome, Sammy. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you out there.
All right.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.